Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel, and in this video I'm going to be telling you about my experience with traction alopecia. However, first I'll be giving you the dictionary definition of traction alopecia, and then I'll be telling you about the differences between traction alopecia and other more commonly known forms of hair loss. Then I'll be telling you how I got traction alopecia myself, the things that I did to my hair that ultimately led me to lose a lot of hair, mostly at the front of my head. And then I'll be telling you about how I've been trying to deal with it and the things that I've been trying to do to ensure that I get my hair to grow back on my head, because I'm tired of being bald. While I'm telling you about my experience with traction alopecia, I'm going to be braiding in this cute hairstyle that I found off of Pinterest. Before braiding in that style, I'm going to be taking out this old hairstyle that I've had in for the past week or so. And after taking out this hairstyle, I'm not going to bother washing my hair because I washed my hair about a week ago. And this year I've embarked on washing my hair every 2 to 3 weeks because of time factors. I don't really have the time to be washing my hair as often as weekly, so I've stuck to washing my hair bi-weekly. Without further ado, let's carry on with the story. So I'm going to start off by defining what traction alopecia actually is. I found on a website called neuroskin.britishskinfoundation.org.uk a definition for alopecia, which states that alopecia is basically just a general term for hair loss. On the other hand, traction alopecia is a type of hair loss caused by constantly pulling or constant traction on a specific section of hair, either on your head or any other part of the body. Let's say, for example, if you wear hairstyles that pull too tightly on your edges constantly, frequently, or all the time, in comparison to, like, let's say the middle of your head, you're going to develop bald patches in that area in comparison to the back or the middle part of your head. That is what traction alopecia is. Of course, the hairstyles that lead an individual to develop traction alopecia include cornrows, braids, dreadlocks, ponytails that pull too tightly, extensions, and weaves. And you'll notice that these are hairstyles that are worn by people of predominantly African descent, and it's for that reason that traction alopecia is more dominant among people of African descent. However, it's important to note that anyone can develop traction alopecia. Even as a white person, Asian, it doesn't matter. Anyone can develop traction alopecia as long as you pull on your hair too tightly. And also, it's important to note that traction alopecia should not be confused with a condition called alopecia areata, which is the most commonly referenced and most commonly known form of alopecia. Alopecia areata is basically the condition where the hair falls out on its own and you develop bald patches because your hair is just falling out without human intervention. And there are very many people I know who have alopecia areata. However, the most famous person that I can reference with that condition is Jada Pinkett Smith. I'm sure there are very many others you can think about, but that's the most famous person that I can reference who has alopecia areata. And also, alopecia areata is genetic. Let's say if someone in your family lineage has it, the chances are very high that you'll develop alopecia areata as well. Traction alopecia should not be confused with a condition called trichotillomania. Trichotillomania. This is basically a condition where an individual will have their hands in the hair and keep on pulling their hair out on their own, like hands in hair syndrome. I've had people referring to it as that, and I've actually seen my cousin with that condition. Sometimes she'll absent-mindedly have her hands in her hair and then she'll be pulling out her hair on her own. That is not traction alopecia. Now that we've gotten the definition of traction alopecia out of the way, I'm going to be telling you or narrating to you the story of how I developed traction alopecia myself, because if you look closely enough, you'll notice that on the right hand side of my head I have some bald patches on my edges. I developed traction alopecia between the period of 2016 and 2020 or 2021. I'm not really sure. During that time, I always used to go to the hairstylist specifically. I never braided my hair myself. I never did anything on my hair myself because I didn't know what to do. I am the girl who grew up in boarding school. I went to boarding school at 8 years, and in the boarding schools where I went to, we always used to cut our hair before going to school. During the school term, we'd always keep our hair short, not bald. We were never bald-headed. However, we used to have really short hair. So I never really got the chance to know how to take care of my natural hair myself. And that was the major reason why when I finished primary school and secondary school and later on went to join the university, I never knew how to take care of myself. And therefore, I always had to go to the stylist because I was growing out my hair at the university and I wasn't about to look crazy or to like just cut my hair off. That was not an option. I needed to look good, and the only way that I was going to achieve that was through going for professional help. So, yep. Now that that's out of the way, between 2016 and 2020 or 2021, I used to go to the hairstylist to have my hair braided in. However, because I was as ignorant as I don't know a mumu or a dummy, I always just used to sit on the chair and people would just touch my hair, play around with it, braid it how they want. And I used to get hairstyles like cornrows and braids mostly. Those were my signature hairstyles. I've never been really a weave or wig person because I think they don't look nice on me, or I'm just scared of looking awful with like a wig that doesn't suit me. Yeah, I'm a coward, but I don't care. So whenever I would go to the salon and just sit, I would not have like any qualms about how my hair was being treated. And I low-key feel like some hairstylists, not all, do not really care that much about the health of like their customers' hair and whatnot. Like they'll be braiding however they want. They just want to finish the job. Not all hairstylists. Some really care. Some are really good and they're very gentle and very cognizant of the fact that hair is brittle and could easily get damaged. But I feel like those who don't just have the love for it will not care about the health of the hair. And the ones that I went to at the time used to like pull too much on the edges of my hair while they were braiding the cornrows or the braids. I was also stupid a little bit because I used to braid in small braids. And the problem with braiding in small braids is that they leave your hair very susceptible to breakage and very susceptible to damage. Because let's say, for example, you're tying like two strings or you're tying a rope. When you tie like two ropes that are very thin, the likelihood of that rope snapping is very high. And when that rope snaps, that's it. And that's the same thing with our hair. When we go and we have the stylist hold our hair in like small bundles, small bunches, what is going to happen is that those small things are going to be pulling too tightly and there will not be enough hair to tether the braids down and like prevent our hair from breaking. I don't know if you get my gist. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but ultimately, when you braid hair that is too small, the likelihood of too much pulling taking place is very high. So I'm pausing the story here for a little bit because I want to talk about this hairstyle. I braided, as you've seen, a braided mini twist to the back of my head. Now what I'm doing is simply sectioning out the front part of my hair in preparation for the hairstyle that I'm going to be braiding. Remember the other cute Pinterest hairstyle that I told you about? Yeah, I'm sectioning my hair out in preparation for it. And thereafter, I'll be detangling my hair a little bit because obviously I don't want to have shed hair when I'm braiding the hairstyle. That is it. You guys be the judges of if this hairstyle is cute, or tell me also if you actually think it's ugly, and let's just carry on with the story time. So as I was saying, not only was I braiding in hairstyles that were pulling too tightly on my edges, also whenever the hairstylist would finish braiding the hairstyle, she would tie my hair up in a puff. When she would tie my hair up in a puff, she would pull too tightly on my edges such that the pain would be too much that I would actually have to take painkillers before going to sleep so that I could have like some kind of peaceful sleep. And that, in hindsight, I was like, how could I have been so foolish? I wish I had known what I know now, but we live and we learn. So all that pulling of freshly braided hair ultimately led my edges to suffer because now I have proof of my illiteracy, but that's a lesson that I learned. And the signs that showed me that I was developing traction alopecia at the time were small bumps that I developed on my hairline, like at the front of my head. Whenever the hairstylist would like braid my hair, I would get small things like pimples on my hairline. However, I ignored the warning signs and just carried on. I read an article that says other signs of traction alopecia could include redness of the scalp, scary, stinging or like soreness on your scalp, itching. Sometimes my scalp would itch. I don't know if that was a result of traction alopecia, but then also I suffer from dandruff, so that could be dandruff that was itching instead of traction alopecia. But the article continues to say that someone can also experience scaling and folliculitis, which is basically inflammation of the hair follicles. But those are some of the earliest signs we should look out for in terms of traction alopecia. However, as the condition progresses, the main symptoms of alopecia are missing or broken hairs, mostly along the front side and the back of your scalp. And that is what I started to experience. I would like see baldness in some parts of my hair. Even to this day, my hair is really thin at the front. The article further says, however, you may notice hair loss in other areas of your scalp depending on hairstyles you are wearing. Traction alopecia is not exclusively for the edges or the front part of your hair. You can get traction alopecia on any other part of your hair. Take, for example, I watched some episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians where Kourtney Kardashian said that she wore a hairstyle for some kind of award show and she developed traction alopecia. Like she had lost some parts of her hair in the middle of her head.
You have a really big spot on the top of your head. Look down. Kourtney, oh my God, I'm afraid for your life. Have you seen that?
No, but I feel it. It's a hole in my
Kourtney.
head. I swear it's from my ponytail in New York. It was so tight
Kourtney,
that I had
your
a
hair
bump
is
on my
gone.
head like this.
You're bald. Kourtney, you have to go to the hospital right now.
I'm not going to the hospital.
So to treat the traction alopecia, I've been using a few remedies. Number one, my cousin taught me to put cloves, rosemary, and blended carrots into like warm water. First, what I do is I get water, I boil it. After that, I soak those 3 ingredients. Then I leave that to sit for about 48 hours. When it has sat and like marinated properly for about 48 hours, I distill it and then I pour it in a bottle, store it in a fridge, and then I spray that every day in my hair. I've been using cloves because people actually do say that cloves help with hair growth. First, do a test check to ensure that you're not allergic to anything before you try it out. Also, I've been massaging my scalp a lot. Before I braid my hair, I actually give myself a little scalp massage because apparently it helps promote blood circulation around the head and ensures that your hair grows fast and healthy. Then the other remedy that I've been using is I have stopped braiding hairstyles that put too much tension on my edges. Now I've been braiding my hair for about it's coming to a year. I've been braiding my hair for almost a year myself, and now I'm more gentle to my hair. And there are very many other scientific remedies, but I have not been trying them, and this video is about me talking about my experience. You can go and do further research on like the scientific things like food intake, protein, ions, and whatnot that will ultimately help you grow your hair. And also, traction alopecia can be permanent. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure you don't push your hair to the extreme that there is no point of return. So about a month ago, I made a video talking about how I used olive oil in my hair and it ruined my hair. I got dandruff, a lot of dandruff. Now I'm going to make an update video. In my next video that I'm going to be making is going to be an update because not only did I get dandruff, I went on to get wounds on my scalp because of using olive oil, and I'm going to be telling you about that process and elaborating more on that olive oil video because the whole thing was very bad. I got wounds, scabs, and like blood. It was dramatic, but yeah, that's the next video that I'm going to be making. I hope you like the style, like the video, subscribe. Bye.